The first time the galaxy learned to fear human weapons, it wasn't because of destruction. It was because of restraint. Commander Threx of the Kahari Dominion stood at the observation deck, his 4 eyes locked on the small blue planet suspended in the void. Earth looked fragile, almost laughably insignificant compared to the fortified worlds he had conquered. No orbital shields, no visible defense grid, no fleet patrol strong enough to deter a serious assault. And yet the Galactic Council had marked it with a warning that made even warlords hesitate. Do not engage. Threx flexed his clawed hands, irritation rippling through his scaled frame. Explain again, he growled, his voice vibrating through the chamber. Why a species that only recently achieved faster than light travel is considered a high threat. Behind him, a slender figure shifted uneasily. Analyst Viral, a member of the Council's intelligence network, adjusted the glowing data slate in her hands. Her species did not sweat, but the subtle flickering of her skin indicated stress. It is not their fleet's strength, Commander, she said carefully. Nor the planetary defenses. It is their doctrine. Threx snorted. Doctrine does not win wars. Firepower does. Viral hesitated, then tapped her slate. The lights dimmed as a projection filled the chamber. A battlefield appeared. Burned landscapes. Silent wreckage. The aftermath of a war. This was the Jar Coalition, she began. They invaded a human colony 12 cycles ago. Threx leaned forward, mildly interested. And they won, she said. Threx blinked. Then why is this relevant? Viral's voice dropped. Because the humans let them. Silence filled the chamber. That is absurd, Threx snapped. No species willingly loses territory. Viral nodded slowly. That is what the Jar believed. They took the colony easily. Minimal resistance. The humans evacuated most civilians, leaving only a token defense force. The Jar declared victory within 3 rotations. Threx folded his arms. And then, the projection shifted. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Jar troops patrolled the streets. Their banners rose over human structures. Standard occupation procedures. Then the first soldier disappeared. The footage rewound. Slowed. A Jar patrol moved through a narrow corridor between buildings. One moment there were 5. The next, 4. No sound. No flash. No trace. Threx leaned closer. Cloaking technology. Unknown, Viral replied. No energy signature was detected. The footage continued. Another patrol. Another disappearance. Then another. Within days, entire units vanished without a single recorded engagement. Impossible, Threx muttered. The Jar thought the same, Viral said. They increased patrol sizes, established checkpoints, installed surveillance grids. It made no difference. The projection zoomed out, showing the entire colony. Lights flickered. Communications went silent. Supply lines failed. And still, there was no battle. No explosions. Threx asked. None. No direct attacks. None that could be proven. Threx's tail twitched. Then how did the humans reclaim the colony? Viral turned off the projection. They didn't, she said quietly. The Jar abandoned it. Threx stared at her. You expect me to believe an entire invasion force retreated without a fight? They didn't retreat, Viral corrected. They broke. Threx said nothing. Viral took a breath. Recovered logs show increasing psychological instability among Jar troops. They reported hearing voices, seeing figures in reflections. Entire squads refused to move after claiming the walls were watching them. Threx's expression hardened. Hallucinations. Chemical agents. That was the initial assumption, Viral said. But no toxins were found. No biological agents. No radiation anomalies. She paused. Just humans. The word hung in the air. Threx let out a low, dismissive growl. You are telling me a primitive species defeated an army without engaging in combat? Yes, Viral said. How? She met his gaze. They understood something no other species in the galaxy had weaponized. Threx narrowed his eyes. Which is fear, she said. He laughed. A harsh, echoing sound. Every species uses fear, Threx said. It is a natural component of warfare. Viral shook her head. No, Commander. Most species use fear as a side effect. Humans use it as a primary system. Threx's laughter faded. Explain, he said. Viral activated the projection again, this time showing a different world. This is Talvan Prime, she said. A heavily fortified planet belonging to the RYK Dominion. One of the most advanced military powers in the Outer Rim. Threx nodded. I am familiar with them. Strong defenses. Efficient command structure. They declared war on humanity 5 cycles ago, Viral said. And they lost. Threx frowned. How? The RYK have superior fleets. They still do, Viral said. Their ships were barely damaged. Then what happened? The projection shifted to a RYK command vessel. Inside, chaos reigned. Officers shouted. Screens flickered. Alarms blared. What am I looking at? Threx asked. This is the moment they surrendered, Viral said. Threx leaned forward. Surrendered to what? Viral zoomed in on one of the screens. A single message repeated over and over. We are already inside. Threx's claws tightened. Explain, he said. Viral nodded. The humans never engaged their fleet directly, she said. Instead, they infiltrated their systems. Not just digitally, physically. Threx's eyes narrowed. Boarding parties. No, Viral said. Something worse. The projection showed a corridor inside the RYK vessel. Empty. Then, a shadow moved. Barely visible. Gone in an instant. They breached the ship without triggering any alarms, Viral said. No hull damage. No docking signatures. No recorded entry point. Threx felt a flicker of unease. Impossible, he said, though his voice lacked conviction. That word appears frequently in reports involving humans, Viral replied. The footage continued. Crew members turned corners and vanished. Doors opened when no one touched them. Systems shut down randomly. Then came the messages. We see you. You are not alone. Do you hear us? Threx exhaled slowly. They destabilized the crew, he said. Yes, Viral replied. Within hours, command structure collapsed. Within a day, the entire fleet was non-functional. And the humans? Threx asked. They never fired a shot. Silence returned. Threx stared at the projection, then back at Viral. You expect me to believe this is their primary weapon? It is one of them, she said. One of them, Threx repeated. Viral hesitated. There is more, she said. Threx gestured impatiently. Show me. The projection shifted again. This time, it showed Earth. Peaceful, unassuming. Humans have conventional weapons, Viral said. Projectile systems. Energy-based arms. Nuclear devices. Threx nodded. Standard. But those are not what the galaxy fears, Viral said. She tapped the slate. A new scene appeared. A battlefield. 2 armies facing each other. On one side, a massive alien force. On the other, a much smaller group of humans. The alien army charged. The humans did not fire. They stood still. Threx frowned. What is this? Viral's voice softened. This is where the fear truly began. The alien army closed the distance. Weapons raised. Then, something changed. The humans began to walk forward. Slowly, calmly. No weapons drawn. No visible defense. Just walking. The alien charge faltered. Confusion spread through their ranks. Why weren't the humans fighting? Why weren't they running? The first shots were fired. Humans fell. And still, the others kept walking. Closer, closer. Threx felt something tighten in his chest. There, ignoring the attack, he said. Yes, Viral said. Why? Because they understood something fundamental, she replied. The projection zoomed in on a human soldier's face. Calm, focused, unafraid. They knew the enemy expected resistance, Viral said. They expected retaliation, violence, a fight. Threx swallowed. But they didn't give it to them, he said. No, Viral said. They gave them something worse. The alien army hesitated, then broke. Panic spread like fire. Units turned and fled. Weapons dropped. Formation shattered. They ran, Threx whispered. Yes, Viral said. From unarmed soldiers. Yes. Threx stared at the projection, his mind racing. This makes no sense, he said. Fear is triggered by threat. By danger. Viral nodded. Exactly, she said. Threx blinked. And then it hit him. They became unpredictable, he said slowly. Viral smiled faintly. Yes. Threx stepped back, his thoughts spiraling. If an enemy does not behave as expected, you cannot anticipate them. And if you cannot anticipate them, Viral added, you cannot defend against them. Threx looked back at Earth. The small, quiet planet. They weaponized uncertainty, he said. And psychology, Viral said. And patience. And restraint. Threx's voice dropped. That is why the council marked them. Yes, Viral said. Not because of what they can destroy, Threx murmured. But because of what they can do without destroying anything at all. Silence stretched between them. Finally, Threx spoke. If we attacked them, he said slowly, what would happen? Viral met his gaze. You would win the first battle, she said. And then, she hesitated. You would never feel safe again. Threx turned back to the viewport. Earth rotated peacefully in the void. No massive fleets. No visible threat. Just a world full of beings who had turned the very concept of war inside out. He clenched his claws. For the first time, he said quietly, I understand. Viral said nothing. Threx exhaled. Cancel the invasion, he ordered. Viral blinked. Commander. He did not take his eyes off the planet. We do not engage enemies we cannot understand, he said. And humans, he added, his voice barely above a whisper, are something far worse than strong. He paused. They are patient. The command echoed through the ship. Engines powered down. Weapons systems disengaged. And far below, on a quiet blue world, humanity continued exactly as it always had. Watching, waiting, and ready, if necessary, to win another war without ever firing a shot. Because the galaxy had finally learned the truth. Human weapons were never about destruction. They were about control, not of territory, not of resources, but of the mind. And once that was taken, everything else followed. Commander Threx did not sleep. Kahari did not require sleep in the same way as lesser species, but they entered low cognition cycles to maintain neural stability. Threx refused them. For 3 rotations, he remained on the observation deck, staring at Earth. The order to withdraw had been executed. The fleet had moved to a safe perimeter beyond the outer system. Weapons remained powered down. Officially, the mission was paused. Unofficially, Threx was thinking. And that alone was dangerous. Commander, Viral's voice came softly from behind him. You have not disengaged from command protocols in 71 hours. I am aware, Threx said. You risk cognitive drift. I am aware. Silence stretched. Then Viral stepped closer. There is something else, she said. That made him turn. Viral rarely showed hesitation twice. Speak, he ordered. She lifted her data slate, but her hands were not steady. We have received a transmission, she said. Threx frowned. From whom? Viral swallowed. From Earth. The air in the chamber seemed to compress. That is not possible, Threx said. We are outside standard communication range. Yes, Viral replied, which is why it is concerning. Threx's eyes narrowed. Display it. The lights dimmed. The projection activated. At first, it was static. Then, a symbol appeared. Simple. A circle. Inside it, a single line. Not a language Threx recognized. Translation, he asked. Viral hesitated. It does not correspond to any known linguistic structure, she said. However, our systems interpret it as a concept. Threx's claws tightened. What concept? Viral looked at him. We see you. Silence. Threx leaned forward. Is this a threat? He asked. We do not know, Viral said. Trace the signal. We tried, she replied. It does not originate from Earth's surface. Then from where? Viral's voice dropped. Inside the ship. The temperature in the room seemed to fall. Threx's mind sharpened instantly. Impossible, he said. Yes, Viral said quietly. Again. Threx turned, his movements sudden and precise. Seal all access points, he ordered. Initiate full system diagnostics. I want every corridor monitored, every compartment scanned. The ship responded instantly. Doors sealed. Lights shifted to alert mode. Security drones activated. For a moment, everything felt under control. Then the first anomaly appeared. Commander, a voice crackled over the comms. Section 7 is reporting a systems failure. What kind of failure? Threx demanded. Control panels are unresponsive. Manual overrides are not functioning. Send a repair unit. A pause. Then, Commander, the repair unit is not responding. Threx's gaze snapped to Viral. This is how it starts, she whispered. No, Threx said sharply. This is a malfunction. But even as he said it, another voice broke in. Commander, we have lost visual feed in Sector 3. And Sector 9, another added. And 12, the reports began to stack. Not explosive, not violent, just absence. Threx felt it then. Not fear, not yet, but something close. Central Command, he barked. Lock down the core. Attempting, the system replied. A beat, then, command access denied. Threx froze. Denied, he repeated. Yes, Commander, that is not possible. I am the highest authority on this vessel. Silence. Then the system spoke again. You are no longer recognized. Quote, the words hit harder than any weapon. Threx stepped back. Override, he snapped. Override denied. Manual command denied. Viral's voice trembled. They are inside. Threx turned on her. There has been no breach. No hull damage. No boarding signatures. Exactly, she said. And suddenly, the recordings she had shown him did not feel like distant reports anymore. They felt like a warning he had ignored. Commander, another voice came through, panicked. Crew members are reporting movement in the corridors. What kind of movement? Unknown. Shadows. Reflections. We cannot get a clear visual. Threx's instincts screamed. Deploy security teams, he ordered. They are already deployed, the voice replied. A pause. Some are not responding. The lights flickered. Just for a moment. But it was enough. Threx saw it, in the reflection of the viewport. A shape. Behind him. He spun. Nothing. The chamber was empty except for Viral. But his pulse had already accelerated. You saw it, Viral whispered. Threx said nothing. Commander, another report came in, voice shaking. We are receiving messages on internal systems. Display them. The projection shifted. Text filled the air. Simple. Repetitive. Calm. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. Threx felt something cold crawl through his mind. This is psychological warfare, he said. Yes, Viral replied. But it should not work on us. Why not? She asked. Threx opened his mouth, closed it, because the truth was, it was working. Not because of what was happening, but because of what wasn't. No enemy, no target, no clear threat, just uncertainty. Commander, a security officer's voice broke through. We found something. Report. In Corridor 11. What did you find? A pause. Then, a message. Show me. The feed switched. A wall. Plain. Unmarked. Except for one thing. Scratched into the surface. Not burned. Not etched by a tool. Scratched. As if by hand. The same symbol. A circle. A line. Threx stared at it. They're here, Viral said. No. Threx said slowly. They want us to think they are here. Viral looked at him. That is worse, she said. Another flicker. This time longer. When the lights stabilized, something had changed. The projection. The message. It was no longer repeating. It had updated. We are already inside. Threx felt it then. The first real crack in his certainty. Commander. A voice whispered over a private channel. Not the comm system. Not the ship's network. Inside his head. He froze. Did you hear that? Viral asked. Threx did not answer. Commander. The voice said again. Clear. Calm. Human. Threx's claws dug into his palms. Identify yourself, he said aloud. Viral looked at him, confused. Commander, not you, he snapped. The voice continued. You made the right choice. Threx's breath slowed. Show yourself, he demanded. We are, the voice replied. The lights flickered again, and this time, when they came back, the viewport had changed. Earth was gone. In its place was darkness. Empty. Silent. Viral gasped. What? What happened? Threx stepped forward. This is not real, he said. Correct, the voice replied. But it feels real, it added. Threx's mind raced. This is a simulation, he said. An intrusion into our sensory systems. Yes, the voice said. Then it can be shut down. Quote, try, the voice said. Threx reached for the command console. It did not respond. Of course it didn't. Why are you doing this? He demanded. There was a pause. Then the voice answered. Because you came here. Threx's jaw tightened. We withdrew, he said. After you observed, the voice replied. Yes. And what did you learn? It asked. Threx hesitated. That you are dangerous. A soft sound. Not quite laughter. Incorrect, the voice said. Threx's eyes narrowed. Then what are you? Another pause. Longer this time. Then, we are careful. The darkness outside shifted. Shapes forming. Fleeting. Indistinct. Watching. Threx felt it. That same pressure. That same uncertainty. Magnified. You could destroy us, the voice continued. Eventually, Threx said. Yes, it agreed. But at what cost? Threx did not answer. Because he knew. Not ships. Not weapons. Something else. Something harder to measure. We do not fight wars the way you do, the voice said. I have seen, Threx replied. No, it said gently. You have seen the beginning. The shapes outside moved closer. Still indistinct. Still impossible to focus on. Commander, Viral whispered. We are losing more systems. Entire sections are going dark. Threx clenched his fists. Stop this, he said. Why? The voice asked. Because this is an act of war. Another pause. Then, no, it is a demonstration. Threx's eyes burned. Of what? Of what happens if you come closer? Silence. Heavy. Absolute. Threx looked at Viral. At the failing systems. At the messages. At the darkness that had replaced Earth. And he understood. This was not an attack. Not really. It was controlled. Measured. Precise. They could do more. Much more. And they were choosing not to. Commander, the voice said softly. This is the part where you decide. Threx's mind raced. Fight. Retreat. Escalate. None of those options felt correct. Because this was not a battlefield, he understood. You said we made the right choice, Threx said slowly. Yes. Then why continue this? Because you are still here, the voice replied. Threx exhaled. And then, for the first time in his long career, he did something no Kahari commander had ever done. He lowered his head, a gesture of acknowledgement, of respect. We will leave, he said. The darkness shifted, the shapes paused. And you will not return, the voice said. It was not a question. Threx hesitated. Then, we will not return. A long silence followed. Then, slowly, the viewport changed. Earth reappeared, peaceful, untouched. The systems flickered, then stabilized. Lights returned to normal. Comms cleared. Control panels responded, as if nothing had happened. Viral collapsed into a nearby console, her form trembling. Commander, she whispered. They were everywhere. Threx stared at Earth. No, he said quietly. They didn't need to be. He turned. Prepare full withdrawal, he ordered. We leave this system immediately. No one argued. No one hesitated. Because everyone on that ship had felt it. Not an attack. Not a battle. Something else. Something far more precise. As the fleet began to move, Viral looked at Threx. What do we tell the council? She asked. Threx was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke. The truth. And what is that? She asked. Threx's eyes remained on the shrinking image of Earth. That their weapons are real, he said. But that is not what makes them dangerous. Viral waited. Threx's voice dropped. It is the fact that they choose when to use them. The stars stretched as the fleet entered faster than light. Earth vanished behind them. Small, quiet, unchanged. And yet, every being on that ship knew something had shifted. Not in space, but in understanding. Because the galaxy had feared human weapons for the wrong reason. It had feared their power, their destruction, their capability. But now, those who had seen understood the truth. The real danger was not what humans could do. It was what they decided not to do. And the moment that decision changed, there would be no warning. No battle, no chance to fight back. Just a voice in the dark. Calm, patient, certain. We are already inside. Commander Threx thought distance would be enough. It wasn't. The fleet exited faster than light, far beyond the outer boundary of the human system, engines cooling, systems stabilizing, crews slowly regaining their composure. Reports flowed in. No permanent damage, no casualties, no physical trace of intrusion. And yet no one felt safe. Threx stood once again at the observation deck, but this time there was no blue planet in view. Only distant stars, empty space. It should have been comforting. It wasn't. Commander, Viral said quietly, stepping beside him. All systems have been verified. There is no remaining breach. Threx did not look at her. Then why, he asked, does it feel like they're still here? Viral did not answer immediately. Because she felt it too. Residual effect, she said finally. Psychological imprint. They are very precise in how they operate. Threx let out a slow breath. Prepare the full report, he said. The Council will want answers. They will want more than answers, Viral replied. They will want certainty. Threx's claws flexed. They will not get it. The transmission to the Galactic Council took time, even with advanced relay systems. When the connection finally stabilized, the chamber filled with towering holographic figures, each representing one of the dominant powers of the galaxy. They did not greet him. They did not need to. Commander Threx, one of them said, its voice layered and echoing. You were sent to evaluate a potential threat. Your report indicates withdrawal without engagement. Another figure leaned forward, its form flickering with controlled irritation. Explain. Threx stood tall. We approached the human system as ordered, he began. We conducted observation. We confirmed prior intelligence. And yet you did not proceed with invasion, the first voice said. Correct. Why? Threx paused. Not because he lacked an answer, but because he knew they would not like it. Because an invasion would fail, he said. A ripple moved through the chamber. Impossible, another voice said. Your fleet is among the most advanced in the Outer Rim. Yes, Threx replied. And it would still fail. On what basis? The Council demanded. Threx glanced at Viral. She gave a small nod. He turned back to the Council. Because we have misunderstood human warfare, he said. Silence. Then, clarify. Threx inhaled. We believed their strength lay in their weapons, he said. We were wrong. A pause. Then where does it lie? Threx's voice dropped. In their control. The chamber dimmed slightly as data streams activated. The Council was analyzing his words in real time. This is not a measurable factor, one of them said. It is now, Threx replied. He gestured. Viral stepped forward and activated the projection. The Council watched. The Jar incident. The RYK collapse. The silent infiltrations. The psychological fractures. Then, the event aboard Threx's own ship. He did not hide it. The messages. The system failures. The voice. The demonstration. When it ended, the chamber was silent. For a long time. Finally, one of the figures spoke. You are claiming that a species with inferior fleet strength can neutralize superior forces without direct engagement. Yes, Threx said. How? Threx met the collective gaze. By making the concept of engagement irrelevant. That answer did not satisfy them. He could see it. Provide a strategic framework, another demanded. We require actionable intelligence. Threx almost laughed. Almost. There is no framework, he said. That is the point. Every system has a structure, the council insisted. Not this one, Threx said. Or if it does, we do not understand it. A murmur spread through the chamber. That word again. Do not understand. It was not one the council liked. Then we will study them, one of the figures said. From a distance. We will gather more data. Identify patterns. Develop counters. Threx felt something tighten in his chest. No, he said. The chamber stilled. You are not in a position to issue directives to the council, a voice said coldly. This is not a directive, Threx replied. It is a warning. Silence. Then, explain. Threx stepped forward. They already know we are studying them, he said. That is expected. They allowed us to observe, Threx continued. They allowed prior invasions. They allowed contact. And everything we have learned, Threx said slowly, is something they chose to show us. That landed. He could see it. A subtle shift. A hesitation. If that is true, one of them said carefully, then it implies a level of strategic foresight far beyond standard models. Yes, Threx said. And yet they have not expanded beyond their system in any aggressive manner, another pointed out. Correct. Which suggests limitation. Threx shook his head. Or restraint. The word echoed. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Restraint is not a viable long-term strategy for dominance, the council said. No. Threx agreed. But it is a very effective strategy for control. Another pause. Longer this time. Then, what are you suggesting, Commander? Threx took a breath. That we leave them alone. The reaction was immediate. That is not acceptable. We do not ignore potential threats. Containment is required. Threx raised his voice. You cannot contain something you cannot define. Silence fell again. Not agreement, but not outright dismissal either. Then what would you propose? One of the figures asked. Threx hesitated, because this was the most dangerous part. Not the warning, the implication. We do nothing, he said. A ripple of disbelief. That is not a strategy, the council said. It is with them, Threx replied. Another long silence. Then, one of the oldest voices in the chamber spoke. Slow, measured. Commander Threx, it said. Do you believe humans are a threat to the galaxy? Threx thought about it, really thought about it. Then he answered. No. A pause. Then, do you believe they could be? Threx's gaze hardened. Yes. The chamber dimmed further. On what condition? The voice asked. Threx did not hesitate. If they decide to be. That was the moment everything shifted. Because for the first time, the council was not evaluating humanity. They were considering the possibility that humanity was evaluating them. The transmission ended without a formal resolution. No decision. No consensus. Just uncertainty. And for a body that thrived on control, that was the worst outcome of all. Back aboard the Kahari flagship, silence lingered long after the council connection severed. Viral exhaled slowly. They are not convinced, she said. They do not need to be, Threx replied. They will act anyway. Yes. And if they do? She asked. Threx looked out at the stars. Then we will learn if I was right. Days passed. Then weeks. The fleet remained in neutral territory, awaiting further orders. None came. But something else did. At first, it was subtle. A delayed response in a system. A flicker in a display. A message that did not quite align with standard formatting. Small things. Easy to dismiss. Until they weren't. Commander, Viral said one cycle, her voice tight. We are receiving transmissions again. Threx turned sharply. From where? She hesitated. Everywhere. The projection activated. Signals. Dozens of them. Hundreds. All carrying the same symbol. The circle. The line. Threx felt a cold weight settle in his chest. They said we would not return, he said. We didn't, Viral replied. Then why? She cut him off. Because someone else did. The realization hit like an impact. The council, Threx said. Viral nodded. They deployed a covert observation fleet, she said. Multiple species. Multiple vectors. They believed they could avoid detection. Threx closed his eyes for a moment. They were wrong. Yes. The transmissions intensified. Not aggressive, not chaotic, just present, watching. Do we know what happened to the observation fleet? Threx asked. Viral shook her head. No confirmed reports, she said. Only fragments. Show me. The projection shifted. A single recording. Damaged. Incomplete. But enough. A corridor. Alien architecture. Not Kahari. One of the council species. The camera shook. Breathing. Rapid. Panicked. They're inside. A voice whispered. The feed flickered. A shadow moved. Gone. No breach. The voice said. No entry point. They're just static. Then, one final message. Clear. Calm. Human. You were told not to come back. The feed ended. Silence filled the chamber. Threx exhaled slowly. They warned us, he said. Yes. And we ignored it. Yes. The transmissions on their systems shifted. The symbol changed. Not completely, but enough. The line inside the circle had moved. Tilted. Altered. Translation. Threx asked. Viral's voice was barely above a whisper. We told you. Threx felt something settle into place. Not fear. Not panic. Understanding. They're escalating, Viral said. No. Threx replied. They are responding. The distinction mattered. Because escalation implied aggression. Response implied control. Commander, another officer called out. We are detecting anomalies in nearby space. Define anomalies. Ships, the officer said. Multiple signatures. Unknown configuration. Threx's gaze snapped to the display. Shapes emerged. Not large. Not heavily armed. But precise. Organized. Human. They came to us, Viral whispered. Threx nodded. Of course they did. The human ships did not power weapons. They did not form an attack formation. They simply stopped. At a distance. Waiting. A transmission came through. No encryption. No interference. Open. Direct. Threx looked at Viral. She nodded. He accepted it. The same symbol appeared. Then, a voice. Not in his head this time. Through the comm system. Clear. Calm. Familiar. Commander Threx. He felt his pulse steady. You know who I am, he said. Yes, the voice replied. And you know why we are here, Threx said. A pause. Yes. Silence stretched. Then Threx spoke. The council sent others, he said. Yes. They ignored your warning. Yes. Quote. Threx's claws tightened. What happened to them? Another pause. Longer this time. Then, they're no longer a problem. Threx did not ask for clarification. He didn't need it. Why come to us? He asked. Because you listened, the voice said. That answer landed harder than anything else. We left, Threx said. You understood, the voice corrected. A subtle difference, but an important one. Threx exhaled. What do you want? He asked. The human voice was quiet. Nothing. Threx frowned. That is not how this works. It is for us, the voice said. Another pause. Then, we are not here to take. Then why are you here? The answer came without hesitation. To make sure you remember. The weight of that settled over the entire ship. Threx nodded slowly. We do, he said. Good. The human ships did not move. Did not threaten. They simply remained. Present. Watching. Commander, the voice said one last time. Yes. Tell them. Threx understood. The council. The galaxy. Everyone who might think to test this again. I will, he said. The transmission ended. The human ships lingered for a moment longer. Then, without fanfare, they were gone. No jump signatures. No detectable movement. Just absence. As if they had never been there at all. Silence filled the command deck. Viral exhaled shakily. They didn't attack, she said. No. Threx replied. They didn't need to. He turned back to the viewport. The stars stretched endlessly before him. Unchanged. And yet everything was different. Prepare a final report, he said. Viral looked at him. For the council. Yes. And what will it say? Threx was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke. It will say that human weapons are real. Viral nodded. And Threx's voice dropped. But that is not why the galaxy fears them. He looked out into the darkness. To understand that, he said, you have to survive them. The report was sent. The message spread. And slowly, across the galaxy, something shifted. Not alliances. Not borders. Something deeper. Expectation. Because now, every species knew the truth. Humans could destroy. Yes, they had the capability, the technology, the power, but that was not what made them dangerous. It was the fact that they didn't have to. War, as the galaxy understood it, relied on force, on strength, on visible power. Humans had stepped outside that framework entirely. They fought in silence, in uncertainty, in the spaces between perception and reality. They didn't break defenses. They broke understanding. And once that was gone, everything else followed. Commander Threx stood alone on the observation deck one final time. No alarms. No messages. No shadows. Just quiet. For the first time since approaching Earth, he allowed himself to enter a low cognition cycle. Not because he needed it, but because, for the moment, there was nothing left to do. As his mind slowed, one final thought lingered. Not fear, not regret, respect, because in the end, the galaxy had been wrong. Human weapons were not terrifying because of what they could do. They were terrifying because of what they chose not to do. And the moment that choice changed, there would be no battle. No warning, no chance to resist, just a realization, too late, too final, that the war had already been decided, long before it ever began.